Welcome back to the Fans of the Home Team podcast.
I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Miranda. This is a podcast that talks about the fun, the drama, and the effects that sports, teams, and athletes bring to the world, whether good or bad.
This is a podcast for people who care about sports in a deeper way than who won or who lost. It's for the people who love the feel-good stories behind teams and athletes and realize that sports are just more than a game.
So despite having my Christmas tree still behind me, it is 2023. We are in the new year. We're recording on January 4th, but we had the idea of doing an episode about some of our goals for 2023, specifically as it relates to fans of the home team. I always enjoy the new year because I feel like it's kind of a fresh start. You can celebrate the wins of last year, but also refocus and kind of structure what you're looking forward to in 2023. And one of my favorite ways to do it is a vision board to visualize all the things, put all the pieces together. I'm just such a visual person. That way I can see what the goals are kind of moving forward. So with that, we're kind of going to briefly discuss what we're hoping to accomplish for fans this year in 2023, maybe some of the changes, some improvements, what we've learned over the course of the last year. And then we'll go over our vision boards, which we're also going to post on social media too. So if you want to listen to this episode and go along with us, head to our social channels.
Whoa, great explanation. This is technically the third year of Fans of the Home Team. So if you've been with us since the beginning, 2021, this started with us just posting stories of fans, why they became a fan, etc. 2022, we started the podcast. We've been doing this for like a full year now, which is crazy. So we'll see where we're trying to go by the end of this episode, but we're taking twists and turns, just doing what we can.
Just figuring it out along the way. Yeah, I feel like 2022 was a pretty big year for us just because of launching the podcast and relaunching the podcast because we did have a few month long hiatus.
Just a tiny bit. You were kind of busy with, the wedding, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. But I think 2022 is kind of where our slowly starting to shift and figure out what we want this to be. And I know Kelsey and I have always had the same goals along the way. So I think we should get into it and what we're kind of looking forward to in 2023. And as mentioned, we're just going to go quickly through our vision board, some of those goals changes that you might be seeing. So if you want to see those, head to social media. Maybe we'll do a video on our
like those little TikTok ones where they have their head real small and you just talk through them.
Literally, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, we can do a little green screen.
Yours actually looks like a vision board. And now that I'm looking at mine, I realize this is not how vision boards look like, but that's what I created. I think it's my first one. So
wow, I'm so proud of you.
I know it turned out about as good as you'd imagine my first vision board turned out.
I think it works. It's very Kelsey.
I appreciate it. I think we have very similar themes.
Yes.
Among them, they just look different. My vision board is very PowerPoint-y. Like, the clip art from PowerPoint. That's how I made my vision board, essentially. The middle is a website page because one of our larger goals is to eventually get ourselves a little website where we can put everybody's stories, link all the podcasts up, just to get the name more out there into the World Wide Web. That's the center of it. And then I put some little logos on the websites. One of them is YouTube. That's a really big goal of mine, is making sure we continuously get more and more content up on YouTube, as well as Twitch, because I think we could definitely turn some of our podcast episodes into more of a live stream where we can interact with you guys while we're actually filming. That'd be pretty neat. And then the other two things I have in here, one is an email list so that we can contact you guys directly and throw all of our shit in your face. Please subscribe when it comes out. And then the last one is the Patreon logo, because we'd love to create some stuff for our most loyal fans who'd like to donate to us money.
Who'd like to contribute to the making this profitable somehow. I feel like these are all really good ones. I love the email list because I feel like, and on mine, which I'll go over in a little bit, but I have like a group of people, like a bunch of people, and that is representing community, which I feel like is one of the biggest things that we've talked about And I feel like the email list is that first way to kind of grow our network and to create a community of fans of the home team. Cause that was one of the initial goals, is so people can bond over their different fan stories and sports and whatever the F they want to bond over, honestly.
Anything.
Everything and anything, which I also feel like goes into what we talked about potentially doing a Facebook group too.
Ooh, yes. Communities on mine too is on the bottom with those little people, obviously. I would love for people to chat with each other in the comments on a Facebook group. I think a Discord server would be cool because a lot of communities do Discord servers as well, of course,
Oh, yeah.
since we're not going to hit the younger crowd on Facebook most likely. But you'll see my mom there. That's for sure.
You'll see my Aunt Susan there.
Aunt Susan and Kathy gonna be chatting it up in the group.
I'm in a couple of Facebook groups that branch off from a podcast. And one of them, you can only be in it if you're a Patreon member. And that Facebook group pops off. I feel like a lot of people have Facebook just to talk to their families and shit.
I think a lot of people have Facebook to talk shit about their families.
Not you. Not
Not us. It couldn't be us.
I just like reading the drama. But maybe I feel like you should explain what Discord is for the people who don't know.
Discord is incredibly hard to explain now that I'm trying to do so, but it's essentially a community building app. So a lot of times you'll see it used for gaming, or individual content creators will build Discord servers as a way to better be connected with their audience, because you can set up a server and it can have hundreds of channels in it with different topics. If we created one, for example, I would probably do one that had topics for each different sport or league so that people can talk about games and fandom and stuff in those different channels. It's just easier than Instagram where you're posting in someone's comments, same as YouTube and Facebook. It's more of a chat feature, I guess, than commenting on a post and leaving. It definitely builds community a little bit more.
Love it.
I don't know if that was a good explanation, but
No, I think that was a great explanation. And I feel like that would be really beneficial for our goal of community, because that way people can talk about all the shit they want to talk about.
yeah, if you still don't get it, go Google it. That's where my job ends.
I think the logos inside of the website are doable within this year. I think the website is obviously a huge task and like a bigger goal. But I feel like the newsletter, Discord, focusing on YouTube, doing a live stream, all of that stuff are great first steps to building our community.
And the other two things I have on here are a webcam, because we are looking to up the quality of our videos and be able to live stream and create longer form content. So having these shitty laptop cameras is not going to cut it. Miranda got her camera. It's not set up, as I can tell.
I was going to say, it isn't, hence why my face is so dark. But yeah, I would just like to note that we know how shitty our video quality is. But my lovely husband got me a camera from Target for Christmas, 1080px pixels. So super stoked about that. So now we just have to get Kelsey on and set him up and all that stuff. But my house is a crazy house right now after coming home from the holidays. So I don't even know what the camera is, but it's somewhere around here. That's our first step of 2023.
Yes, it's definitely hard to gain an audience when you don't have a good quality of video, because most people do have that. That's just a requirement at this point.
And I think that we initially were like, oh, podcast, like audio is going to be the most important. Hence why we invested in these microphones first. So that was like our first, I don't want to say big purchase, but like a bigger purchase.
Yeah.
To make sure we have clear and consistent audio, which we do when I actually make sure my microphone is set up properly, which has only happened one time. So
I'm not even going to tell you what episode it was. So if you listen, you know, but I spent so long going through each individual clip after I had already edited to try and get the sounds the same. It didn't work. But now we make sure before everything that the correct microphone is selected, because it was really fucked up.
Yeah, it's a learning process, you know, but we're just getting more legit at it. But yeah, so we have our lovely microphones, and then pretty quickly we're like, oh, we should definitely video recording the podcast. So next step is video cameras. But as we mentioned, one of our goals is for this to be profitable, and it's not yet. So it takes some time to buy these things, as we have other expenses like bills and shit to pay for.
And we want to buy the right one and not have to
Yeah.
return it and get a different one. So we're trying to figure that out. Stay tuned.
February, mid-February,
Yeah,
good quality cameras.
we'll get out there.
But that's been a goal we've talked about for a minute now.
Yeah, it's definitely a necessity. So we're almost there. We're right on the edge of the cliff. Then the last thing on my vision board is a little t-shirt with our logo on it. We definitely would like to do some merch. We want to rep the fans of the home team logo, and we want you guys to rep it too. And it helps support us as well.
My vision board is more like a collage, and like photos represent different things, I guess. And one of my photos is this is like so, but big goals, okay? But Emma Chamberlain launched her coffee brand, Chamberlain Coffee. So I put her merch on our vision board to represent that we want to have our own merch eventually. I think, like Kelsey said, first would be like t-shirts and stickers. That way we can plaster them all over the place. But yeah, we're really excited for that.
The whole goal is to plaster our stickers in every single city and town in the entire United States. I'm going to start sticking them everywhere.
Honestly, community merch, we just pass the merch out to our community and they just stick them around their city.
Exactly. Any light pole, any door, any building, just right on there.
Literally every possible place. And I'm not even kidding, but like we've talked about even when we have trips planned this year, just bringing the stickers with us and plastering them everywhere. I'm going to Arizona in April and Boston in August for a wedding. And at some point, Charlotte, North Carolina. All good spots to plaster some stickers.
That is good. Yeah, we should definitely be doing.
Yeah, and we can get Jill up in Tallahassee before she graduates to plaster them all over at the FSU campus.
So smart. We'll have 100,000 FSU followers.
Perfect. I mean, we are FSU stands over here, so
that's true. I think we have to be because but
it's a requirement. If you're a UF home, support us, but we don't agree.
Agree to disagree.
Yes, exactly. Anything else you would like to cover on your vision board?
No, I covered it. It really wasn't extensive.
Well, I feel like ours, again, are very similar. I have some like big ones that I know aren't going to happen this year, but we've discussed them. But mine is a little more collage-y. So I just downloaded a bunch of pictures, mostly from Pinterest and then some from Instagram, some from Google, whatever. So the goal is to make this profitable, which we've talked about. Honestly, like if a podcast or content creator or whatever is saying like, oh, I don't care, that's a lie. We're straight up. We're trying to make this our career one day, like we mentioned. And in order to do that, our world revolves around money. So we need to make this profitable. I also have like deal making in the corner because Kelsey and I have talked about creating a sales pitch deck to go out to podcast studio heads because a big goal would be obviously for us to be under a podcast studio. That way we have some help and it's not just two people doing this entire damn thing. So that's always been a big goal. But also just for having brands on, like we have our ads, but having brands where we voice the ads.
The ads don't do much. We've been doing this for a year and we're up to like $10. So please keep doing your part, but it's not worth much.
Yeah. So, and I think that's a little insight into podcasting too, is like the ads that you hear on our podcasts, like Kelsey said, are just generalized. They're not like partnerships, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
When you start hear us saying the ads, that's how you know we're in a good spot.
That's how you know. So I think a good goal for this year is to get like, I would say between 1 to 5 is a great
sponsor.
Goal. Yeah. I don't want to be like 1, but
no, 1.
I think getting would be super cool. And then also bringing on, like we've talked about, focusing more on interviews. So bringing more guests, whether it's in smaller podcasting markets like we have, or like D-list celebrities or something like that. Just bringing on people who can help grow the community. And then we can also get their fan story from them. So that's where my handshake represents. I also have a photo of Citi Field. While this represents a much bigger goal, should have used like an MILB park or something. That's why I also have a Green Bench Brewery on my vision board as well. Because we've talked about doing a live recording at whether it's a sporting event. Obviously, the goal would be like a big sporting event eventually, but we're going to start off small. So, MILB game or whatever, or like doing something at a brewery. That's why it also has like the on air thing. So, I think it would be cool to do live recording, or we've talked about, and I'm sure you've heard it in the episodes, we're not kidding when we're like, yeah, we want to go to the Olympics and interview fans, or we want to go to the World Cup and interview fans. But obviously, those are bigger goals that are going to take time. But I think it was important to include it on the vision board and start with some baby steps.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're at a point where you're going to games and interviewing fans, like that's when you know that we've made it where we want to be. We would love to travel the country and the world to interview fans for our job.
That's the goal.
That's the whole
Literally the
goal. We also talked about starting a brewery once, but then I researched it and it usually costs about $1 million to start.
We need to make fans profitable first and then open our brewery.
It'll be the best brewery you guys have ever been to, but we're going to need some money.
Yes. So yeah. And then the on air obviously includes that, but just continuing the podcast, I feel like Kelsey and I, if you don't know, we clearly enjoy doing this, even though we're not making any money. We want to do it as a career eventually because we're so passionate about it and we have fun and we want to do this every single day. But it just takes time because life, money.
So annoying.
I know. The worst.
Right.
So just going down here, I follow one of these girls that I follow. She put up a question box. What are your goals for 2023? And one of the answers just stuck right with me. And it says, be delusional. I'm so sick of expecting the worst. This year, I'm acting like I'm charmed. And I just really love that answer because I think, as you can even tell from talking about the vision board and what our goals are, it's really easy to think, oh, these are too big of goals. This is never going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And maybe it won't, and that's fine. But I want to act delusional and say that it is going to happen one day. And I think that if we continue to do and make the change and work hard and build our community and all this stuff, it will happen. And this is also going to be on my personal vision board as well, because I'm always so stressed about the future and I just want it to be great and I'm going to live a happy life and things are just going to go wonderfully. So that's why that's on the vision board.
We got to move past 2020 through 2022.
Yeah.
Total shit show. I get it. It was a fucking mess.
Chaotic energy.
We have to take a jump. We've got to believe in ourselves. We got to believe that shit's going to get better and that we're going to be able to do this. Because if we don't believe, then why the fuck would we be doing this anymore?
Exactly. It would make no sense. So that's why that's our, I would say, overarching goals of 2023 is to build a community. In the early talks with Bands of the Home Team too, obviously the focus is sports now, but we even talked about doing like fans of movies or music or whatever, just bringing groups together to talk about their favorite hobbies or things or whatever. Yeah, things, stuff, all the things. So community, obviously. In the middle, I have a quote. So I did my Be Real recap and it literally said you and Kelsey's username are basically feeling soulmates. So I had to include that on the vision board because that's what we're doing. We're doing this together and I'm very thankful to be able to do it with you and that we're trying to make this thing what it is.
So blessed.
So blessed. So continuing to do this together.
And if you're not on Be Real following us, you're missing some good shit. Let me tell you.
So many good things. What else? So I have a thing that says career and like a girl with her laptop looking so professional. Basically, I already have mentioned this a million times, but the goal is for this to eventually be our career. We love doing this. We love interacting with you guys. We love talking about sports. We love talking about drama, pop culture, Christmas songs, all of the things. So we want to do this forever. And then the last two are more like quotesy things. The first one, it says consistency is more important than perfection. Obviously, you guys know we took a hiatus from the podcast and all that for a while. And we've only been back doing the podcast season 2 for a few months. And because Kelsey and I have such lofty goals and we love this and want it to be so successful, I think sometimes we get very impatient.
Oh,
and I think it's just reminding ourselves like we've only been doing this for consistently for a few months now. And that sometimes you get so in our head about, and at least for me, I'm like, oh, this isn't good enough. I'm not going to post this, or I need to work on this longer. And then it ends up not posting or something like that. So just being more consistent overall, which just is also going to go on my personal vision board as well. But I think the way to grow this in our community is being more consistent, which we've definitely improved on. I know that I personally can be better. So that's why that is there as well.
I don't know the exact stat, so I'm gonna butcher this, but like 90%, no, 80, I don't know, fucking it, 80% of podcasts like don't make it to episode 10 or whatever it is. And then as that number gets higher, the number of people that stop get higher. Most podcasts on Apple or Spotify are no longer recording. Like most of them are. So to have a podcast that has been going on for a year is pretty rare, and we're glad to be doing it, and we're going to keep doing it. So it'll eventually pay off one day.
Yes, retweet. And I think sometimes we forget about our accomplishments.
Mhm.
And especially considering a lot of the podcasts I consume have either been around for like 10 years or they're prolific people like a Barstool or celebrities. Like, I can't even think of any celebrity that podcast that.
Literally any bachelor or bachelorette
Yeah. Or
contestant has a podcast.
what's the one with like Dak Shepard's podcast, which is one of the
Mhm.
top podcasts all the time. Like all of those podcasts have either been around for a long time and they've worked really hard to get where they're at, which is what we're trying to do, or they have a celebrity influence. And not to say they don't work hard, but they already have that name recognition, credibility, all of that stuff. So we're competing with a very competitive market. And I think there are a lot of great smaller podcasts and people like the average person like us. So I think we just need to remind ourselves like we're doing good.
Yeah, it's very hard to not have an existing audience and to build a successful podcast because most successful podcasts you'll look at are people who came in with an audience.
Yep, exactly. And we start from scratch here,
We're beating the odds. We had nothing.
which is why we always talk about our parents and family members supporting, because they truly have been here since the beginning and we would probably be nothing without them. So shout out to those people.
True shit.
The last one is like a diagram and it's how to give value. And in the center, it's a Venn diagram for all those people wondering, but it has 3 circles in the center.
So many people wondering about the type of diagram.
Not a line graph or bar chart, whatever. It's a Venn diagram. Anyway, in the center, it has value. And then the 3 larger circles that make it say educate, entertain, empower. And I feel like, and Kelsey and I have talked about this, but I think the biggest thing for a successful podcast is to give value to people. That's why I listen to a lot of the podcasts that I listen to. And I think we entertain like no other, obviously, because we're hilarious. But I think like the educate and empower are other areas that we can work on. Even this podcast talking about a vision board and educating people on the background of building a podcast and all of that stuff. So I think there's definitely areas. I think entertain is obviously the biggest, like the one we will always focus on because that's what we're most passionate about. And we like to just have fun, talk about sports, pop culture, all that good stuff. But I do think there's areas for growth and topics that we can discuss. And we've talked about where we can educate and empower, whether it's from a career standpoint or talking about working in sports or talking about like some topics like your regular sports media isn't covering, which we've definitely touched on in certain episodes. So I just thought that was really helpful and kind of a guide for us moving forward.
We're great entertainers. I entertain myself all the time.
I pride myself up on a
We're funny. Yeah, I think we have a few episodes where we're educating. The one that I remember most specifically was the Pride Night one. That was a big education one. Do we empower people? I don't know. We'll find out. We empower ourselves at this point. But we're looking to empower you guys too.
Yeah. And I feel like the first step is empowering ourselves, which we're really good at. So we'll figure out a way to empower other people, which I think a part of that goes back into getting back into fan interviews and stuff like that, because it's empowering the fans to talk about their experience and their fandom. But yeah, I feel like that covers most of it.
Yeah, we'll empower you guys to put our stickers up in your city as well.
We'll give you the strength to do that.
Gotcha. What's on our list? Picking a word. We need to pick a word to describe and encompass the year ahead for fans. Ooh, elevate. I
Beautiful.
feel like 2022, we made this really big change in the direction we were going to take the business. And now it's time for us to take a step up and make it to the quality to which we can.
Yeah, I love that word. I think that's perfect. I feel like having a word or words to encompass your goal for the year is helpful because sometimes the goals just like swirl around. But as long as it reaches back up to our word, fans of the home team 2023, elevate. And I feel like you explained it perfectly, just trying to elevate our brand. And a lot of our goals go back to that word. So good job.
I'm so good at everything.
It's central words.
So good at words. Best vocabulary. Just kidding.
All right. Last but not least, obviously that all was our talking about our goal, vision, whatever for 2023 for fans. And then I figured we could briefly discuss maybe a couple of our personal goals for 2023, or if you have any words for 2023.
When he texted me about this last night, I was like, survive and then get money off my student loan debt, which does not have anything to do with me at all. But that's just what I want. Survive definitely goes against the quote that we said about being delusional. I think I'm going to survive. I think I'm going to make it. It's not a very lofty goal.
You're fine.
Yeah, let's hope so. Anyway, goals for 2023. I definitely would like to travel more. I think that's something everybody lost in the past couple of years that I really like to do. So trying to make that happen. That's probably my biggest one. I got a new job, so probably not get fired from that one. Be a good goal for me.
Try to last the whole year.
Try to make that one work. I would love to pay off my student loans this year and just be done with that. But I won't be if they keep extending the pause. I will continue to not pay it because I need to gain the interest on the money in my bank.
Yep, exactly.
But that's a good goal. Get out of debt. I mean, that's the only debt I have. So that's a good one.
I will not be getting out of my student loan debt because mine's significantly more than Kelsey's, but it's fine. I've just been milking that pause for as long as possible. So this is what happens when you go to undergrad and grad school and don't pay off shit. Or I paid like a little bit, but not a lot, as much as I should have been. But that's also because I was 18 years old and got sent all this money. So it's partially my fault, but not all my fault. I think it's a lack of, like this is a whole separate episode, but lack of financial literacy and education.
But when you're 18, you don't think about the money you have to pay off. When you're 28, why would you think that way? That's weird.
Yep, exactly. Which I just realized that 10 years ago, we were 18.
10 years ago, I took out a shit ton of money. Good job.
Good job, 10-year-old Miranda or 18-year-old Miranda. No, I feel like getting out of debt is a good one. That's been a goal of mine forever.
I'm going to make a vision board for 2023 and figure this out because I really don't know because all I had in my head coming into this was survive. So I'll get back to you.
If we make a vision board, I feel like it's always beneficial. I haven't made my personal one yet, but I do have something written in my notes app that I've already thought of. 2 on the fans vision board are coming with me on my personal. 1 is to be delusional. I'm like being so sick of expecting the worst. This year I'm acting like I'm charmed. I get very bad anxiety of the future and bad things happening and awful things that I'm sure everyone thinks about. To a point, sometimes I feel like I'm not enjoying the moment. And I feel like I worked on that last year, all the wedding activities and getting married and all of that stuff, but just continuing to work on that. So trying to be as present as possible. And then the other one, consistency is more important than perfection. I have always been, and I'm starting to just accept it, but I'm a serial procrastinator. And I think part of it is because I'm also such a bad perfectionist to where I get so overwhelmed that things aren't going to be up to my standards. But then I just let it cripple myself. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. And I'm just going to put it on off for as long as possible. So try to be better about working with my procrastination because I've been trying to overcome that bitch since I was like 10 years old. I think there are ways to work with it better and to try to combat it. And one of them is being more consistent. But my 3 words for 2023 are peaceful, structure, and creative. I had a blast in 2022, obviously, with all the wedding things, traveling, all of the things. It was like one of the most fun years of my life. And I got to marry my soulmate, which was amazing. But it was the most chaotic year. I felt like all over the place. And it's because there was just so much going on. And again, I don't fault it like the year at all because I love 2022. But this year I definitely want more structure, more being better just about daily habits. I feel like everyone always has goals like working out more consistently, trying to cook at home more and not eat out so much, and just getting into more of a routine because Derek and I are so bad. We get into a routine and then we go on a trip or we go to our parents' house for the weekend. We come back and the routine is just fucked for like a month. We need to be better about that, which I feel like will create more of a peaceful environment because I am definitely the type of person, again, going back into my procrastination, where if I'm all over the place, which is where I'm normally at, I'm a lot more stressed and not able to live in the moment. But if I have structure, it pretty much fixes a lot of the problems. So I need to focus more on that this year. And then creative, I feel like I am a creative person and I enjoy being creative, but I've just not been able to do like as creative things as I once did. Even like painting, like I have so much paint supplies and stuff and I just don't even use it. So just trying to be better about certain things like that because that's what I enjoy and yeah, inspire me and things, all that stuff. And then I also obviously have career goals because I am starting my own business, Mara Marketing. Shout out to her, but helping me with all the business consulting and all of that good stuff. So trying to get that off the ground and gain clients and work from home for the rest of my life. And so, yeah, that and fans of the home team, the two focus thing.
Yeah, if you need marketing, hit Miranda up. Markets.
Small businesses only, not corporations.
Oh, yeah. Tons of corporations listening here.
They are. Please sponsor.
Please help. The structure one is good. I actually have Fitbit. It was like 30% off, 33% off on Fitbit.
No.
I would just like to know more about what's going on. They just take a lot of data and give you a good picture of how healthy you are. You shouldn't get something like this to lose weight. You should get something like this so you know what the fuck's going on with yourself. Because there's more to health than just a number you see on a scale. That was empowering. So I just want to know what's going on. You know, build a healthier lifestyle because it's hard when you work from home and you start a new job and you no clue what's going on and you're running a business and you sit most of the day. So try to figure that out.
I think that's a great goal. And like I said, I feel like we all have health goals, but sometimes it gets so stressful and overwhelming because it's like, I don't know. I think people go to an extreme in the new year and I don't necessarily think it needs to be like that. And like you said, your health is more than just the number on the scale. So even for me, like, obviously I would love to go to the gym more consistently and that's one of my goals. But even getting outside and walking for 10 minutes a day, I feel like is a great goal too, and something that on my list as well.
You should get a Fitbit and then we can be friends.
Yeah, this is true. I have an Apple Watch, but I've been thinking of selling it. I haven't worn it in a while. I don't really like it. It kind of annoys me. So maybe I'll look into a Fitbit. Are they still on sale?
I don't know, but this is the newest fitness tracker because they have watches too. But
Yeah.
I don't want my notifications to come on my watch.
No.
Like I already have a phone. No, exactly.
So annoying. My ex actually got it for me. And when we broke up, I put it in a box. And then I would say a couple years ago, I brought it back out and I was using it regularly. And then it got to a point where I was like, this is annoying. And I don't
It's
need
too much.
like, you need to walk for 10 minutes. I don't even know. Like, it was just a lot. It was overwhelming for me. And like you said, getting the notification all the time, like I already get them on my phone. I don't need my wrists to be buzzing. Okay, so maybe I'll look into a Fitbit. Maybe I'll ask for that for my birthday because I'm already potentially going to ask for a Peloton.
Jesus. Okay. Wow.
I've been putting the bug in Derek's ear.
Peloton. Aren't they like almost out of business?
Are they?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I definitely spread false news. But I know they laid off a bunch of workers and it's probably because not as many people have to like quarantine themselves for 2 years anymore.
Yeah.
They're not out of business. I apologize. But they did lay off a shit ton of people. I know that.
Yeah, it also probably has something to do with like our economic state. I don't know.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We're actually off again next week. This is a super busy month for us, so we'll try to be consistent though. Miranda is going on her honeymoon to St. Lucia for 8 days, and then I am getting on a boat going to the Caribbean next week. So we didn't plan on the same days. We're so smart. New episode dropping January 25th, where we will discuss fantasy football grades for various players on our various teams.
I'm so excited for that episode. You have no idea. I'm sure it'll be entertaining as always, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please let us know what you want to see from us in 2023. I hope everyone's 2023 is amazing. Check out our link tree as always, which you can find in the description of the episode. This is our one-stop shop for all of our social media accounts and where you can find us to send us your lovely constructive criticism. And you can also sign up to share your fandom story with us.
And so you don't miss any of the upcoming podcasts, subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening on: Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon, and more.
Thank you again, and we'll see you January 25th for fantasy football grades.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye.